Hey guys, welcome to the call. We've got a really special call today. This is going to be a joint call from Team Panacea and Team Inspirnation. My name is Chris Reed. I'm heading up Team Pan, and then the lovely lady that, at least on my screen, is bouncing her baby back and forth is Micah Folsom. So we got together and we decided we were going to do this, just kind of expose our teams to somebody else, let them hear from somebody else, and do it in the middle of the day, so maybe even some different people get an opportunity to be on the call live. And we'll, of course, have this thing recorded so that we can share this with everybody for generations to come. So first, let me introduce myself. My name is Chris Reed, like I said, and I am a lifetime 10-star coach, 5-time elite coach. And let's see, in 2009, I signed up pretty much thinking this was a scam, but I got 25% off. So I figured, if I could just at least spend enough money to where my $17 kind of washed out with my 25% off, then I would do that. I was a SWAT team leader down here in the Fort Worth area of Texas. And I was pretty big. I was one of those big Texas cops. It was like, you may be able to outrun me, but if I ever catch you, you're never getting away then. And at some point, I was just like, okay, I really have to do something. And I had P90X in the corner on the shelves, and it was collecting dust. And I just decided, all right, you know what, I'm going to do this. And I did it. I did 2 rounds. I lost 40-something pounds, got down to 207, which now in retrospect, I kind of think is maybe slim for me. We'll see. I've just maybe added a little bit more muscle with hammer and chisel and beast lately. But and just was super motivated about it. So then I decided, okay, well, I didn't even really plan on working the business, but I couldn't shut up about my results, and people were obviously asking me, because I lost 60 pounds, what I was doing. And so I made it to Diamond in 6 weeks. I decided eventually, about a year after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to take this thing seriously. Right after I signed up to begin with, my coach, who some of you knew before I started the recording, I was pretty sure this was a scam, and I wasn't very coachable. My coach would be like, hey, you should do this. And I'd be like, nah, I don't want to, but I eventually did all of those things. But I signed up, right, thinking it was a scam. And he's like, hey, this is 2009. He's like, there's Summit in like 2 weeks in LA. You should completely come. And I was like, man, freaking, I'm not flying to LA for this thing. Who knows what you guys are going to do? I might end up in a compound, bound and gagged and never come back. So I didn't go. And then the next year I went, and that was the game changer for me, because I met people that I had kind of put on a pedestal, people like Barbie Kalev and Jason Diebold and these other highly successful coaches. Then I was like, oh my gosh, these guys are amazing. And then I sat next to them and I was like, well, they're cool, but they're not really like amazing. I could do what they do. And so I came back home, and that's what I did. I went full-time in 2012. I loved my job as a cop. I really did. I mean, I got to drive fast and jump fences and thump heads and do all sorts of fun stuff. But I had to wake up early in the morning. I had to work holidays and weekends and ask off for birthdays to do these things. And so when my Beachbody money had doubled my police department income in 2012, I left and turned in a resignation that I made into a pretty cool share, if you will. So like if you guys decide to go full time, don't miss that opportunity, because like I wrote my letter of resignation talking about how much I loved cops, but I've got this other new venture where I get to choose how much I work and yada, yada, yada. And got a lot of traction with that. So that was it. The other cool thing about this is my wife is full on into this business too. She's been elite in and of it, all on her own, for 3 years. And we're the only husband and wife couple to do elite 3 years in a row. And I think I'm pretty sure I'm the only elite guy to do 5 years in a row. So, it's one of those things for me. I like doing things that people say I can't do or is hard to do. And, people say that this is easier for guys or for girls. Sorry. Nobody says it's easier for guys. And, and sometimes as a guy, you just have to be okay with getting roses if you do something cool, because that's what you make an elite. But, that's what we've done we have now created a designed life where we get to come and go as we please. And never again do I have to ask somebody else permission to go to my kid's birthday party or to spend Christmas with my kids, because I decided to become a full-time coach. That was almost a team call in and of itself, and it was supposed to be an introduction, but that's who I am. So, Micah.
Awesome. Well, I am Micah Folsom. I started coaching 2.5 years ago. Just really loved the programs and wanted the discount, basically. I didn't know anything about the business side of it until I started seeing like a weekly check come in. I was just running a challenge group and was getting a retail commission and was like, well, this is pretty nice. I could probably do this. And then so I just kind of dove in and learned all about it, and learned really fast that growing a team was where all the magic happened. And you could be successful on your own and get retail commission, or you could be super extra hugely blessed if you had other people doing it with you. So I am a 15-star diamond coach, top 10 last year. And basically I am just a normal mom with young kids. I started coaching when my husband was in the middle of vet school and I was a full-time wedding photographer. So we didn't have any extra time or any extra income or like startup fees or anything like that. We were basically just kind of living within our means and trying to make it work. And then when I saw this opportunity, I definitely made the sacrifices that it took to make it happen fast, because I set some big goals, like graduating my husband from vet school without any debt. So that would have been paying off over $100,000 in student loans, and we made it happen. So that is the reason that I grew so fast and went so hard and made it happen, because we just kind of set some goals out there that would set us up financially for our future. And with this opportunity, I mean, the sky's the limit. So whatever you want to make of it, you can. And that was really, really exciting for me. So that's kind of my story. As you can see, I have a little 3.5-month-old. So you can build this business when you're pregnant and when you're having babies and when you have old kids and when you have grandkids and whatever. So fit it in where it works for you and make it happen. That's all about me.
That's awesome. So, okay. So you were top 10 last year, and then he's 3.5 months old. So I'm not an accountant and my math is kind of crazy, but so did you make top 10 while you were pregnant, or you got pregnant the month after basically your top 10?
Yeah, I got pregnant the month after we made top 10. So last year we finished number 12 while I was pregnant the whole time. Yeah. So it's not too shabby, but. No,
that's amazing. And, and I will say this on a recorded line because it's funny. It's like an inside joke that I'm going to just pretend that everybody feels the same way, where when one of your coaches who's a rock star and they're, on one of those calls, they're like, oh my gosh, I got such exciting news. And you're like, oh, did you sign a rock star? What happened? And they're like, I'm pregnant. And you're like, oh, you disappear for 9 months, And so here's proof, that you can actually do it. Number 12 in the company, while pregnant or raising a newborn. So it's fantastic. Amazing. All right. So we want to respect everybody's time, and I want to make sure, because I get long-winded sometimes, that I give Micah plenty of time. So I'm just going to kind of jump into mine. If you're on my team, you probably heard this before, but if, it's worth repeating. So I'm going to tell you one of the things that I noticed as a Beachbody coach early on was I really became obsessed with Beachbody and just the way that Beachbody kind of intertwined into everything in my life, right? I would go see a movie and I'd be like, that reminds me of Beachbody. I would see a commercial and be like, that reminds me of Beachbody. You watch the movie about the snail or the slug that wants to be a race car, and I'm like, oh, it's a new Beachbody coach and he wants to be and so everything was able to be tied back to Beachbody for me. And that goes with one of our favorite things to do. We go to Disney a lot, but we also go to national parks a lot. And right after we went to, you know what, I'm going to mute everybody here real quick.
Hey, you're I'll mute myself.
Well, I got everybody right there. Okay. So we go to national parks. I told you guys that I turned in my letter of resignation, and actually the thing that prompted that was I put in for like a 5-week vacation because I worked so much overtime, but wasn't claiming overtime. I was actually claiming time due back to me because I didn't need the overtime money because of Beachbody anymore, that I decided that we were going to do this 35-day vacation. And then I started running my mouth too much, which I've been known to do, and talking to people and really kind of letting people know that I'm probably not long for the PD. And so they called me in and they said, hey, you know what, we're going to have to cut your vacation short because it sounds like you're leaving soon after that. And I was like, well, that's not cool. And, Cody had been telling me for a couple of months at least to leave. And so I went home and talked it over with her, and I came back and I was like, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and turn in my 2 weeks. And they were like, seriously? And I was like, yeah. And like I said, I made a pretty good post about it, took a picture of it. And then I went on a 47-day vacation. I loaded all, Cody and the Reedlings, that's my kids, and then Pop, my dad, up into the van. And we were gone for 47 days. And that was a pretty cool thing for me because we spent a lot of those times in national parks. And spent 6 days in Yellowstone and came back out to find that I'd had one of my best weeks ever and had no Wi-Fi basically. Like one time, I think maybe on a Wednesday night, I had to check something, so I had to drive in and park in the parking lot of a hotel so I could pirate their Wi-Fi for a minute. But that's where this came to me. One of our favorite parks to go to is Zion National Park, right? And Zion is, in all of the national parks, basically, it's super easy to get into, right? You pay like $15 and you get a carload of people into the national park. And so for me, it's like buying a challenge pack, or maybe even like the $40 sign up. You pay this small fee and you get access to this thing that could be really cool. Just how cool it is depends on what you do with it, right? So you can drive in, you can pay your $15 for the carload, and you can go in and you can look around and be like, oh man, this is kind of nice. It's kind of pretty. There's a lot of nature. See some animals over here. It's pretty cool. And the other cool thing about it is that you hang out with cool people, because nutbags don't go hang out at national parks for vacation. I don't know where they go, but they don't go to national parks, right? It's pretty much my kind of people at national parks, family peoples. And so that's who you get to be around. And so you pay your $40 or you buy your challenge pack and you go to the occasional Super Saturday, or you're in a challenge group. You get to hang out with cool people. You get to see some cool stuff without actually even putting any effort in, right? Just by doing that one thing, you've kind of made your life a little bit better, or giving yourself access to this that you didn't really put a whole lot of effort into. But if you want to do a little bit more, there's so much more at Zion to take a look at, right? So you go down and there's a lodge, and you can eat at the lodge, but that costs a little bit more money. But you can do these things with just a little bit more effort. You got to make a reservation because it's a busy place. But there you are, consider that it's an event, right? Maybe it's Super Saturday, maybe it's Summit. So you go and you hang out at this place, and you get to look up at the canyons, and you look at the condors flying and do all these other things that all these other people that didn't put the effort in to make a reservation, they don't get to do. They're just still out there looking at the mountains and looking at the grass and the other things that are there. But if you put a little bit more effort in, even, right? There's all these other paths where, because it's nature, right? Everything's not beautiful right next to the road. So there's places where you got to go, and you actually got to get out of your car and you got to walk. And sometimes you got to walk up hills, and you got to do, walk through the woods to see, like, this crying waterfall, or this place where, there's these amazing cave structures underneath another waterfall. But all of this stuff takes effort, and so these people who just paid their $15 or just paid their $40, they're not seeing that. But so if you put a little bit of effort in, kind of like Micah talked about at the beginning, she's just in there rocking her challenge group, and lo and behold, some people are buying stuff from her. And, and so that's kind of what walking off the beaten path and just putting a little bit of effort into it is. But then I tell you, there's a part of Walter's, or a part of Zion, and I'm going to send you guys a link that hopefully works, that everybody, because, we don't do slides anymore. But so this is called Walter's Wiggles, right? And so this is the part that really makes me think about coaching. Okay, so it's up the side of this mountain, but there's no shortcut. That's the only way to the top of that mountain. And if you're looking at it, it's just the same thing, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Okay, and so the first time that we went to Zion, we were like, oh man, we totally got to do that. And so we went, and actually the first time we went was before I had Pop with me. Pop is part of the story because that was the preparation that made me, yeah, it does look like that street, but that made me bring him the second time around. But if you look at that, guys, that's a week or a day in the life of Beachbody coaches, right? You've got this goal. You want to get to the top of this mountain, and you wake up and you start walking, and you do your workout, and you drink your Shakeology because you got to be proof the products work. And then you got to share and invite, and then you got to do your personal development. And then you go to sleep, and the next day you wake up and you do the same thing again, right? And over and over and over again. So you're walking up this side of this mountain, and it's one step in front of the other. And you're not even really looking at anything that fantastic. Sometimes it even gets mundane. And you're like, man, this is the same thing that I did last year or last week or last month. And I'm really kind of getting bored of this, walk 12 yards up, turn around, walk 12 yards up, turn around, walk 12 yards up, turn around. But you have to keep in your mind and have to keep in your eyes or in your vision, what's at the top? What's the goal? What are you working for? And you have to understand that you're doing your own race. This is your journey, right? Because some guy, some gal in a freaking ultra runner gear is going to run past you, and you're going to be like, oh, they're going so much faster than me. Well, you know what? They put a lot more effort in than you did, and that's why they're moving faster. They're still doing the same track. They're still doing exactly the same activities. They're just doing them more. They just did that activity more. So when I look at somebody, or when people, actually, I'm pretty good about not doing this. Like when Micah is like, hey, I made top 10. I'm like, wow, she worked harder than I did, right? It's not like, oh, she must have some secret spot where she just goes and says, hey, anybody want to buy a challenge pack? And like 14 people message her and say, yeah, those places don't exist. She just works harder than I do, right? The people who made top 10 this year, they worked harder than we did. That's just the way that the thing works. There's no secret. Right? There's not anybody ziplining up the side of Walter's Wiggles. Everybody is on Walter's Wiggles doing the same exact thing. It's just how much effort you're going to put into that. And when we realize that, then it makes it easier for me to understand that this is what I need to do. This is the job that I signed up for. The cool thing is, though, as a coach, especially once you get some of that momentum, if you want to sit down and take a break, that's fine. But you have to get back up and keep moving, and when you take that break, it slows your progress down a little bit, depending on how much your momentum has gone, but it's your pace. But so the cool thing is about Walter's Wiggles is it takes you up to a place that's called Scouts Landing. So I don't have a link for Scouts Landing. If somebody wants to Google that and find it on Pinterest, you can throw it up. But it's cool because Scouts Landing at the bottom, actually, let me back up. At the bottom, it says, hey, this is a hike. It's called Angel's Landing. It's strenuous, and like 8 people have died doing this since 2008. So because they fell off the mountain. So I'll tell you, the cool thing is you're not going to die or actually fall off a mountain because you bought a challenge pack and decided to do the daily activities. But you can see these kind of results. So if you go to when you get to the top of Walter's Wiggles and you're just doing the same thing over and over and over again, and now you're at the top of, and you're looking at Scouts Landing or Scouts Lookout, and you look down and there's just tons of people below you, and they're just walking around, and they're still looking at the grass, and they're still looking at the trees, and hoping to catch a glimpse of a deer or something in the woods, which is all pretty cool stuff, but it's base level stuff. You're up here where other people aren't able to get to because you put in the effort that other people weren't willing to put in. You know, we're able to do things that other people can't do because we did things that other people weren't willing to do. There's a ton of people that come into that park every single day, and only a fraction of them decide to start walking up Walter's Wiggles. The same thing with Beachbody coaches. There's 400,000 coaches, and then you think about how many people make elite, right? Or even how many people make Success Club. It just depends on what kind of effort you want to put into it. So you're here and you're at Scouts Lookout, and you look around and it's amazing, right? And this is the first year that I went. I'm sitting there and I think we had our kids. I don't remember, but you know, we're at Scouts Lookout, and I'm looking around, and this is awesome, right? It's exactly what I want it to be. But there's this one spot up above the ledge, and it's called Angel's Landing. And Angel's Landing is the most, you know, it's like one of the most famous hikes in the country, because it's like 1,800 feet down on either side, and at parts it's like 15 yards wide, if that. And climbing on the other side of the mountain, there's actually parts of the mountain that's got like rivets driven into it with chains hanging on it, because you're actually like holding onto the chain on the side of the mountain as you make your way up to the top. And that's a two-way street, right? Because like there's people coming back down, and so you got to hold up real close to it because they can go around you. But that kind of effort, for me, that's one of those things where that kind of effort is more than it took to get to Scouts Lookout. Scouts Lookout is kind of like the success. Well, you know, this is not as applicable anymore because it just sold out in 3 minutes. But I used to equate it to the Success Club trip, right? Because if you just earned Success Club and you just earned Success Club and you did it, then you got to do these other amazing things. So I'm just going to take it back and say, you know what? If you earn Success Club every month and work your business every month, even if you're not going to the Dominican because it's sold out, you should have the money to take your own family someplace else and go someplace where you want to go. It may not be the Beachbody trip, but you're still going to be able to take a vacation that the people that live on either side of you probably aren't going to be able to take because they haven't been working their Beachbody business. So then when you get to Angel's Landing, when we get to Angel's Landing, there's like, you know, there's thousands of people in this park at any given time. And there's like 15 of us up at the top of Angel's Landing, because that's the amount of effort that put into it. You know, the first time that we went and we did this hike, I wasn't ready for it. And I don't remember exactly right now. It escapes me why I wasn't ready. I think it had to do with childcare. So that's why I brought my dad the next year around. And so somebody watched the kids. And yeah, that's right. Because then the next year I brought my dad and he went on it with us. But, you know, so it's about preparation, and it's about key. And if you are doing this right and you are obsessed with it the way that I am, and I'm sure that the way that Mike is, that you see Beachbody lessons in everything, right? It's not just about building a business even, but it's about actually just becoming a better and more well-rounded person by being able to do things that other people aren't able to do. And it's not anything magic, you know, that's sort of just to kind of wrap this thing all up. It's not anything magic as much as it is doing the same thing that other people are doing, just on a more consistent or as consistent basis, right? I was talking again about my coach told me, hey, you should do this. And I was like, I can't do that, you know? And when I decided to do it, I started seeing some success. And I'll end with this little footnote from about listening to others and learning from others. Is, you know, at a certain point, I outgrew my coach, and I needed somebody else to mentor me. And Monica Ward is in my upline, and so I met Monica at Summit, and I asked her, "Hey, can I have some of your time? I want to do a little bit more with this business." And she very graciously said, "Yeah, absolutely." And this was while I was still a cop, right? This maybe 2010 or 11. And one of the things that she did in one of our first conversations was she recommended that I attend a seminar, right? And that seminar, I looked at it, and it was like in Phoenix, Vegas, or LA. And I don't know if you all caught this, but none of those places are Fort Worth. right? Which is where I live. And so I was like, man, I just came back from Summit. I don't have any vacation time, and I just don't know if I can make that happen. And she very graciously said, okay, well, I think it's pretty important. And so we had our little call, and then I hung up and I was like, man, what kind of knucklehead am I? This is $1 million coach. And I asked her, what should I do? And one of the first things she did was she told me to go to this goal setting seminar that she found very helpful. And I started giving her reasons why I couldn't do it. Right. And then I realized that those are the people that I hate talking to. Right. When somebody comes to me and they're like, oh my gosh, Chris, you're really getting in such great shape with hammer and chisel. It's amazing. How can I do that? Well, you got to buy a hammer and chisel challenge pack, and get on Shakeology, and you need to eat better. And, I'm using the whole performance line. Oh, well, I can't actually do any of those things, but how else can I do it? And so I'm like, no, fool, that's it. That's it. You came here and you asked for my help, and I gave it to you. If you don't like my help, then tear your ass and you can go do something else. You came to me and asked for my help. And so I called Monica back and I was like, hey, I'm going to make that happen. And, and I called and I actually tried to put together a group big enough to where they would come to us, but I only got like 4 or 5 people. But, so I was like, all right, well, screw it. I guess I'm going to Phoenix. And so, I put my airline ticket on credit card and booked a flight, even though I didn't have the vacation yet, but I was like, I'll figure something out. I'll swap shifts with somebody. I'll make it happen. And I did. And I'll tell you what, here's a little tidbit about events. The event was good, right? But I mean, it in and of itself wasn't mind-blowing or game-changing for me. But the activity was, right? Me saying, you know what? My mentor told me this is important and I should do it. And it's going to be friggin' inconvenient. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be hard. And it's not, but I'm going to do it anyway. And that's what Beachbody is, that's what Beachbody events are. I'm going to tell you that at a certain level, when you go to a Super Saturday, you might not hear something that just sets your world on fire. And you're like, I didn't know that, right? That day eventually comes. But just making it a habit to go to these events, not only does it show you, kind of reaffirm to you that these things are important, it reaffirms to your team that it's important. I haven't missed a Super Saturday yet, right? January, like for the last 3 Januaries in a row, we go to Florida and we run a Disney half marathon. And then I go home and sometimes I shower, sometimes I don't, go to the hotel room. Sometimes I shower, sometimes I don't. And then I go to a Super Saturday that I'm always about an hour late for, but it's important to me not to miss one. So when I was on that 47-day vacation, I went to a Super Saturday in San Diego. I make those events so that I can tell my people, yes, they are important. That's why I go to them. And it's about doing things that sometimes are uncomfortable or sometimes are inconvenient so that you can see things that other people aren't going to be able to see because they're not willing to do what you are willing to do. So that's my piece there. I'm gonna mute myself and then we're gonna let people ask questions at the end, guys. If you've got anything you want to ask, then let's just hold it until the end, if you don't mind. Let me see. You got yourself.
Okay, can you hear me? All right. That's awesome. And I'm going to lead right in. You kind of ended with what I was going to start with. I'm going to just talk some about leadership and about how to kind of step up your game and up the ante on your business. Because it's one thing to be able to be successful as it's one thing to be successful as an individual, to be able to hit Success Club yourself, to be able to earn diamond yourself. Obviously, you can get to diamond by yourself. You can get your husband to emerald, you can get your mom to emerald, and you're to diamond once you sign up all the other coaches. But if you want to have true success and build lasting freedom in this type of business, then you have to be as passionate about helping others be successful as you are about being successful yourself. So I'm just going to go over 5 kind of quick points. And the first one Chris talked about is just leading from the front. speed of the leader, speed of the pack. I'm sure you've heard it. You have to be in phase one always. You have to be doing the 3 vitals every single day. You have to be more consistent in those activities than any other thing in your business, because those are the driving forces to move your business forward. And if you're not doing those things, then you can't expect anyone else on your team to do those things. So lead from the front, always be in the trenches. Number 2 is just plug into the systems, because duplication is so key at this point. If you want to build a team, if you want to not be hooked to your phone and working 24/7, then you have to create a system that's duplicatable, that's streamlined, that you can help your coaches have success without doing the same stuff over and over and over that are like time, energy sucking. So I'm sure that you guys on Chris's team have a system in place. Make sure that you plug into it and don't feel like you have to reinvent the wheel. Just because you become a diamond coach then doesn't mean all of a sudden that you have to create this brand new training and do all these things that are going to take you away from everything else. So instead of recreating, just realign how you do things and make them work for you. There's no problem changing stuff and making it your own, but plug into the system that's there, that's solid, and then just tweak it to make it fit how you want to run your team. Number 3 is consistency in the basics. I already talked about that one kind of, but that when you see all these top coaches, when you see Melanie Mitro, Lindsay Matway, coaches that year after year after year are in the top 10, they are just doing more of the basics with more people. They're inviting more. They're getting in front of more people. They have marketing plan that's more efficient than ours. It's just the simple things they're doing better at. It's not anything, and Chris mentioned it, it's not some magic that they're tapping into. It is they're more consistently doing the basics in front of more people. And so if you're feeling like you're not reaching enough people, then that's one thing. You need to be expanding and you need to be learning and growing in different social media areas so that you can reach more people, because your well will run dry if you're stuck in your warm market and you're not doing those things. But you have to be, it's the littlest things that will make the biggest differences. So just be consistent in all those little things always. Number 4, you have to, as a leader, you have to cast vision and breathe life into your coaches. So I feel like this is a huge one. You, a lot of the time, see someone's potential way clearer than they see it in themselves. So you have to empower your coaches. You have to help them. I think belief is one of the things that most people struggle with more than anything. They just don't believe in themselves. They say, yeah, you can do it, but I can never do that. And as a leader, you have to be there to, like I said, breathe life into someone. You have to pull them into their potential almost. And that's going to come from personal development. It's going to come from them meeting you halfway and doing the things that you tell them when you're mentoring them. But you have to, when someone sets a goal, when they're working the business actively and they say, okay, you say, okay, what are your goals? And they say diamond by December. And you're going, okay, diamond in 12 months, like you can do better than that. Let's move it up. Let's push yourself. Let's set it for April or whatever. You have to be there to really be that, I don't know, that you kind of have to be a tough love kind of thing. Like you help them understand what's possible for them and don't let them just sit back and coast, because that's, lots of people don't know, they don't even know how to goal set, or they don't even know what's possible. So be there to be that sounding board so that you can help them reach their dreams. So always knowing what their goals are and then making sure you're on the same page so that you're not pushing them more than they want to be pushed, but you're there to push them when they need to be. And then number 5 is always be a student of the business. So that's one of the things that I love so much about coaching, is that you're not always learning things about the business that you didn't know per se, even though I learned stuff all the time about the business that I didn't know. But you're just a student of life. You're always growing. You're always learning. You're always bettering yourself. You never get to the point where you're like, oh, I'm a superstar diamond. I'm a top 10 coach. I got this. I don't need to learn anymore. I don't need to grow anymore. If anything, you need to up your game in personal development and grow in different areas so that you can keep growing your organization, so that you can keep being a better mentor and a better leader for your team. And I think that's the one thing that has built such a strong belief in this business and what it does for people, that I feel so confident talking to anyone about it, because I don't care if you're a stay-at-home mom, or I don't care if you're a lawyer or whatever. I know that if you dive into the 3 vital behaviors and you make those a part of your lifestyle every single day, your life will be blessed. You will grow as an individual. You will grow as a person. You see life differently when I say you have happy goggles on. When your personal game is on point, and when your personal growth game is on point, trials become, what can I learn from this? Instead of, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. I'm never going to get through this. Why me? It's, what can I learn from this? How can I share this with my followers so that they can learn from me? Turning your mess into a message. Just life becomes better when you are always learning and growing, and when your personal growth game is on point. So as a leader, you have to spend more time on your personal growth than you spend on anything else in the business, in my opinion, because you have to get through more struggles. Like just with the Success Club trip, like everyone's complaining, everyone's, wow, this is terrible, I'm gonna quit now, blah blah blah. It's like, you have to be there to be like, guys, chill out, you're okay. Like, you have to be, you're kind of, in a leadership role, I think you kind of turn into part therapist a little bit. Like, you hear everyone else's troubles, and you have to be strong enough emotionally to be like, look, and help them through it. So if you can't even help yourself through situations, then how are you going to help everyone else? So if you aren't getting the point, up your personal development game like times 20, and your business will grow because of it. I promise. So those are really the key points I wanted to talk about. And then I wanted to just leave time open without taking too much of your time for Q&A, so that you guys can pick our brains about anything regarding these topics, or regarding anything really. So do you want to just, how do you want to do that, Chris? Uh-oh.
Okay. You guys should be able to unmute yourselves. There's too many for you to like raise your hand and me to try and unmute yourself. So if you got something, then unmute yourself. Tell us who you are. And if somebody talks the same time as you, then just be polite and wait your turn, and we'll get to everybody. Who's going to start us off? Anyone?
No questions.
Okay. So everybody is set, right? Everybody's going to just crush this thing then?
Okay, I have a question. It's Christine.
It always takes just one to get it started. Christine and Broadwell, there you go.
Hello. I would like to hear about your tracking. I'm curious. I'm looking at, Micah, your board behind you. I don't know if that's a Beachbody board, but I would love to hear like how you just stay on top of all the people you're talking to. I find that like in Messenger, I'll forget that I wrote to someone, and I'll have to scan through all these things, and I've got papers everywhere. So I'm trying to streamline my tracking. So can you give me your tips on that?
Yeah, so I'm sure you've heard the power of threes. That's how I use my business tracking, as far as like who I'm prospecting and who I'm talking to. And then honestly, lots of times I end up talking to people throughout the day, because I say it all the time. I build my business in the mom cracks. I don't have like set business hours like lots of really organized, awesome people. I like will hop on my phone when I'm feeding Brig and my kids are playing. And so I won't have my tracking sheet right next to me. So I use Facebook Messenger. Like every few days, I'll just scroll through there and make sure that there's not anyone I need to follow up with and stuff. And then, when I'm actually working the business and like at my desk, then I use the Power of Threes document to help me with that. But as far as team tracking, that's what you see back here. I just so that I don't, like once your organization gets to a certain point, I just felt like I was forgetting people. And I am 100% all about, I'm here for you whenever, but meet me halfway. So usually it's not a problem because the people who need my help and are working the business, we're talking on a regular basis in groups and in message threads and whatever. But this is how I track Success Club. So these are all my business builders, and I just have them color coordinated with rank so that I can know who my runners are with when I'm going for rank goals and stuff like that as I'm growing. And then I keep track of their Success Club points every month so that I know who's close and who I need to reach out to and all that stuff to kind of give them some extra help as the month goes on to help them get there. So that's what you're seeing back there. As far as coach tracking, that's just how I do it. I'm a pen and paper girl though. I don't have any like fancy computer tracking system because I can't keep up with it.
Yeah, and I'm the same way with Messenger. It's funny, one of my rock stars actually sent me a message about signing up, and you know how it pops up that you see what you said to him last time, and like it was like a year and a half earlier, he sent me a message. He goes, "Hey, I think I want to be a coach." I'm like, "I'm gonna send you some stuff," and I never did. And so like a year and a half later, he's like, "Hey, I think I want to be a coach," and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" But one of the things that I do that maybe is if it sounds like me, Christina, and Micah too, kind of do a little bit of scrolling through our messenger to see who we were talking to, is if it's somebody that I want to kind of have an extra reminder about, then I'll take a screenshot of either their profile or the message to where it's in my camera roll, to where when then later I'm looking through my camera roll, it's just some other spot where I might be like, oh yeah. So it's not another year and a half, before I run across them again, or I have to wait for them to come back.
Nice.
So tell us a little bit about the Power of Threes, because I'm probably have heard of it, but I'm not exactly sure what you're referencing there.
So it's basically the vital behaviors. I just hated the BAT tracker, and then I kind of run my business a little bit. I'm not doing daily invites or anything like that, and I kind of never did, besides at the beginning when I was inviting to a group. So I tweaked it. I can't remember who did the initial Power Threes, but then I tweaked it to fit just what I was doing every day. So it's expanding your network, building relationships, invites, following up, and then adding value, like just being a positive light, basically being there for someone or whatever. You can add value in all different ways, but and then it has like your workout, personal development, Shakeology, checking into your group. So it's basically just the essential activities that I teach my team to do each day if you want to consistently hit Success Club, grow your team, and move your business forward.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Hey, Chris, Micah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. What's up, Ed?
I'm not sure how these headphones work. Sorry about that. Question for you, and I don't even know how to phrase it, so I'm just going to tell you. I have this one person that's in my challenge groups consistently. She's got coach written all over her, but she won't take the step. And I've tried projecting the positivity, because she helps more. She's like this. People have said to me in the challenge group, "Is she your assistant coach?" I mean, she's that good, and she drinks Shakeology religiously. She's got just about every program in the library, and I just don't know how to get her over the hurdle.
Well, why is she telling you no?
She of all things, she can't afford it. And me, with my financial background, I lay it out for her that it's financially beneficial if she would become a coach. And I could show her how so simply she could be ahead of the game. She's referred, I've got a total of like 220 customers under me, I'd say 25 of them are referrals from her. And I tell her constantly, those could have been your customers.
Right.
Had you done it. And she just, I think she gets a little heat from her husband too, that, he gives her the pyramid scheme,
Right.
marketing. And I've tried every approach in the world. I mean, is there a point where I just say, move on? But I know deep down she'd make a great coach.
Yeah. My answer, it may be different than Micah's, but I want to hear hers too. But mine would be, there is a point where you move on and you're just like, okay, cool. I'll keep taking your $33 a month. And thanks for all the referrals. Because if she does become a coach and she does nothing more than what she's doing already, she does it, then you don't really actually earn money off of that person. You take a financial hit yourself because you were earning $33 a month. And if she becomes a coach and then doesn't do anything that we're going to teach her to do, then it doesn't make any sense. I mean, and I'm going to tell you, our team, and I'm sure Micah's team too, is actually full of people who've been on the infomercial, but they're not really very successful coaches because they can rock the fitness side of things. They're just something not, they're missing some part of actually building this into a business. What would you add?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the person, like how close you are to her. When I have people who I know well, who I know I can like just be real with, then I just get real with them. And I'm just like, look, you say you can't afford to, but I say you can't afford not to. Like if you're in a financial crunch, this is your way out. And then you can share what you've done or share what's possible. But I mean, if they're just kind of more of a customer that you have just this client-customer relationship type of thing, then I mean, you can't really do much other than making sure she knows all the details and knows all the ins and outs. And if she still doesn't want to, then you just say, all right, well, keep rocking the group. I love having you in there and just keep supporting her. Maybe she'll come around. But
okay,
yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Does any of my team have questions for Chris about guys? Because he's obviously figured it all out, and we don't have much of that. Chris, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Patty, were you going to say something, Patty?
I mean, I was just going to ask about guys. I mean, even as a personal trainer and someone that's worked with guys like for over 10 years, and I coach triathletes too, but I still it's always, they don't think that home workout's good enough, or even if they try it, they don't think that it's legit as far as coaching. I don't know. I feel like I've kind of given up on reaching out to guys because I know I don't know how to even get through to them.
Right. I mean, you know what? And it's challenging. I think with guys, there's some ego into it that isn't, is not really an obstacle for ladies. And then, there's more of a communal aspect to just the culture of females to where, at the risk of being non-PC, you go to the bathroom together or something like that. You're used to being in a group, right? And so there's that part of that's got to lend into this. And I'll be honest with you. I mean, if I'm just looking for rock stars on my team. I don't really reach out to guys in particular, but sometimes I make my coaches cry because I get real with them too. And so some of the guys they can handle that, and some of them they get mad and they quit too. But that's okay. It's just I don't really have a how to reach out to guys strategy as much as for what works for me. And honestly, I wish I had a better answer. But what works for me as far as attracting guys is probably wouldn't work for you because you're not a guy, because most of my guys come to me, right? Because they see that I'm a guy and I'm successful in this business. And so how can they do this too? You know, and so y'all don't have that part, but there are things that you can do as far as, you know, I just sent Mike a couple of videos that, you know, that I've made for me, or they're of me speaking at events or something like that, that I think speaks to some guys, you know, and it speaks to a lot of cops, or, you know, I mean, cops, firefighters, and nurses. I mean, you know, again, it's not necessarily gender specific, but that's kind of my target market is people who, when we got a job, we wanted to help other people, right? That was like our goal was I want to have a job where I can help other people. And then when we got older, whether it's cop, firefighter, teacher, social worker, all these other things, when we got older and we started having kids of our own, we were like, man, you know, I wish I got paid more to help other people. And I wish my hours didn't suck so bad. And, you know, and so then that's what Beachbody has become for me, was a way that I can help other people. And it's actually people who want my help, not the same crackhead that I go to their house every week because, you know, their brother stole their TV again. You know, it's people that actually want my help. And so I feel like that this is a lot more rewarding. And so that's why if you look at like a lot of the early coaches and even some of the top coaches now, still, it's people that were in the medical field, right? Or they were teachers, or they were cops or firefighters, because we have that servant mentality, but wanted to actually make some money doing it too. So I kind of went off on a tangent there as far as getting in guys, but it's just one of those things where it's hard to do, but I wouldn't, you know, when people want me to do a call on how to attract guys, I kind of shy away from that because I'm just looking for workers. Yeah, baby. This is my wife. I don't just say yeah, baby to everybody, but that's my wife, Cody.
Oh, good. That's fast enough. I think most of the time that you attract men of the business opportunity, I think most people come to you for that other than just, hey, I need to get in shape. I mean, is that what you said?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it too, you know, was, you know, it's just my brand is I'm a busy guy. I got a bunch of kids. I don't really actually even like working out, but I know that it's good for me. So that's what I do. And I'm pretty frank about that. And so my people that come to me are like, okay, man, you know, you keep posting about how you don't like working out, but you're still doing it anyway. And so I got to do something. And, you know, and you're clearly earning money doing this because, you know, I follow your posts. And, you know, it's funny. I'll tell you this one story that you can talk, you know, I mean, I hope there's some value in it, but one guy, he was one of my original people that I prospected him, and I signed him up, or I didn't sign him up. He didn't want to sign up, you know, but I was like, look, I've got like 6 coaches. You could be right here at the very top. And he's like, nah. And you know, but he was Facebook friends with me, and he signed up a while back, maybe last year, I think. And he's like, man, you know what? I know I was right there in the beginning, and I kept kicking myself that I didn't sign up in the beginning. But then I was like, you know, I got to freaking sign up and start doing something before next thing he does, he posts a picture of this helicopter he bought or something like that, because I keep going, oh, he bought a truck. Oh, they went to Disney, you know, and so I might as well jump on now. And so, you know, it's like somebody said that they missed the boat, but the boat leaves every day. It's just looking for rock stars. I don't look for guys in particular, but I have some, and I think it is just because I'm a guy and that's who they identify with.
I think the guys for sure are more business, like they're more like you can actually make a business out of this. Like you're getting paid to do this. Okay, now tell me more. Instead of you get to help people and you get to, you know, like I feel like you lead differently when you're talking with guys. Maybe.
And also, I think, Chris and Micah, I also think, and that's also when you have that spouse that's kind of on the fence about it, and, you know, us, you know, ladies, and here it's opposite. But once you show that this business is legit and it works and you bring in income, that's when a man, the spouse, the husband gets on board, because he can see all the Shakeology that comes to the doorstep, the 3-day refreshes. You bought another book, but if you're not showing that this business works, that you're actually bringing in income, that's when a spouse gets on board. Otherwise, they are naysayers to the business, and that was the reverse way for us. But I mean, that's my 2 cents on guys, anyways, or spouses.
Yeah, that's so true.
I just have a question about, it's a little bit different, not onboarding guys, but I've had a couple guys just kind of come to me more so and sign up as coaches. What do you think they need additionally? I'm more used to working with girls in like the challenge groups or having them on my team. What would you say that guys need more from that perspective versus girls?
You know, I don't change much at all. I mean, you know, a big thing for me is I tell my people it's about attraction marketing, and you got to check your ego at the door, right? I mean, you know, I was on SWAT, and you know, my guys would be like, because I make my living like 100% on Facebook, and you know, I'm getting ready for a raid or something, and one of the guys is like, "Hey, Chris, I didn't see what you ate today. You didn't post a picture of your lunch." You know, and I'm like, "Yeah, hide and watch, man. You know, he's still at work right now. I'm sitting here, you know, in my new house, living a design life." So you have to check your ego and be like, "Look, you know what? Some people are going to hate on me, but that's okay, because for me, you know, this is about my kids." And so that's the thing where, like, as far as guys go, again, I want to provide for my family, and I provide, you know, for my family at 7 or 8 times the level what I would be able to as a sergeant at the police department, because I'm doing this little thing that mostly women succeed at, you know. But my kids are the reason that I wanted to really rock this thing to the level that I did, and so that's what I appeal to with everybody, but guys too in general, you know. Okay, so you want to be the supporter, you're the big dog in the house, the breadwinner. So let me show you how you can win more bread than you've thought of, and I share that with them, and you know, some of them do it and some of them don't. I mean, I've got some, you know, Dennis Fowler is a 5-star 3-time elite coach of mine, and he was a former officer. I've got some male leaders on the team, probably, you know, more than most, but it's challenging. You know, I mean, it's mostly female leaders on our team too. Once you get down into the ranks.
All right, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, the basics are the same for everyone. I just think girls are more willing to post selfies and stuff like that than guys are. So
Yeah, 100% for sure. So, all right. Well, we're getting right at an hour. You want to take one more? Does anybody have one last one, and we'll lock it down?
Sandra, do you have one?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one question actually. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Actually, I wanted to just mention to that one guy who asked that question about that girl that was in all of his challenge groups, about the recruiting. I was actually one of those people for months. I mean, I've done every Beachbody program in the world, and my coach, I had been approached by other coaches, but Lindsay Hargett kept at me. She would, you know, here and there mention it, but if you're not ready, you're just not ready. And I wasn't into it. I just didn't want the pressure. I didn't want to sell. I wasn't into it. And then one day I just woke up in the morning thinking I needed to make some extra money. And I just text her, I'm ready. So I think there's only so much you can do until you become annoying, you know. You don't want to cross that line. But when they're ready, they're going to do it, you know. And now I'm just obsessed with it. So it's a whole different animal now. But my question is, either to Micah or to Chris, how important, because I'm fairly new in the business, 3 months now, but I feel like I've got the clean eating challenges and the regular challenges, and I feel like I got all that down. But the one thing I haven't really done, and I'm a little confused on, is the sneak peek groups. how important, or is there any tips that you would give me on running one of those? Do you just basically announce it and then you create a Facebook group, or like how do you do your sneak peek into coaching?
Chris, do you guys do sneak peeks?
Some of my team does, but I myself don't. So
Do you do
that's
webinars?
what's that?
Do you utilize webinars?
We do weekly team calls, but we don't do like I know Armbruster does it's the opportunity webinars. I mean, I don't do those, so I can't really touch that.
So I'll answer her, because sneak peeks have been a game changer for a ton of our coaches. So basically you can make your own if you want, or you can just plug right in to what's already been made. So there's obviously groups that are open and ongoing that you can just plug your people in. So if you've ever seen my business opportunity posts, I basically at the end of every single one, I say, I let them know that they have the option to just get more information in one of my sneak peek groups, or I give them the WooFoo application form to fill out if they want to nail down a spot and not wait if they're ready to go. But basically that's all it is. You're posting intentionally about the business opportunity and sharing about however you want. And then you're saying, hey, I have a sneak peek group where you can just get all the information, no strings attached, whatever. Let me know if you want in or whatever. And so that's all it is. So you can use the one that's already made and just add people in there, and all the videos and all the information is in there. Or
so ones that are already done.
Yeah, they're already done.
It doesn't have to be currently going on.
Right. Or you can make your own and make a group with, I have one group where I have 5 videos just from me that are like 5 minutes long that explain different aspects of coaching. Or we have another group that is a bunch of our leaders that did videos with different information. So I have 2 different groups. So you are welcome to plug into those, or you can make your own based off of those, kind of get an idea how you want to do it, and then at least they're seeing you. Totally up to you. But they are so essential in my opinion, because they're so simple.
So I would just have to have you add me to one of yours. Like, do I have to get added, or I could just add people to it? Okay.
Yeah, you have to get added, and then you can add your people to it.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, thank you.
Was someone else saying something?
Oh, it's just me, Micah. I was just going to say, Sandra, get a success partner and host a webinar once a week when you're recruiting to build your business. We, a couple people and I have been doing them either weekly or bi-weekly. I've signed up 2 coaches this month alone just from those weekly webinars. And we just take 30 minutes. We talk the business from from a challenge pack and what it means all the way to the business and how they earn in 30 or 40 minutes, and tell a couple top coaches stories. And we get off the phone, and then we get back in a Facebook group, and we just start answering questions. And it's really making a huge difference, and it doesn't take a ton of time. We do it as a live event, so you can just send the invites out, and you can send 30 invites out, and they hop in.
What's your name?
Diana.
What's your name? Diana?
Mm-hmm.
Diana what? Can I add you? I wanted to add you on Facebook.
Yeah, Burke.
Diana
Sorry.
Burke.
But it's making a big difference. We're having a lot more conversations in those live events because we're leaving them open, and they're just continuing the conversation in there until they're ready.
Yeah, I signed up my best friend, and she's been my success partner. She's been killing it too. So we're both, that would be a great idea for us. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
Well, thanks, guys, everybody, for being on the call. I think, Mike, I'm going to be reaching out to you about a sneak peek group and get the information that you got. Sounds like I'm missing that boat, and I'm always looking. That's one of the things I love about this is I can learn from other people too. But thank you, everybody, for being on the call. I sure do appreciate you spending a little bit of your time with us today, and I will post this recording. I'll give Micah a copy so you can share it with your teams or on your page if you want. So thank you very much, guys. Have a good day.
That's good.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Chris.